Let's talk chemistry. The last concept in our mole identification, we're looking at the molecular formula. Now, we said before, empirical formula is in its simplest form. Today, we're going to look at molecular formula. Molecular formula is the way it actually is. That HO, empirical, actually it is molecular formula H2O2. All right. So when we do this, when we find molecular formula, I abbreviated MF, we take SMW divided by FM. What are those things? The molecular formula is going to be equal to molecular weight divided by the formula mass. All right, so let's try one here. Identify the molecular formula for a compound that has 40.05% sulfur, 59.95% oxygen, and a molecular weight of 240 grams per mole. All right, so we're going to do empirical formula first, exactly the way it was before. So we're going to take 40.05 grams of sulfur and 59.95 grams of oxygen. Again, we can do that because we remember, they're assuming we have 100 grams of sample, okay? So we're going to convert those from grams to moles. We're going to do that with periodic chart again. So if you look at sulfur, sulfur is 32 and oxygen is 16. Take your calculator, multiply 2. Take 40.05, divide by 32. Check your sig figs for the 40.05, that'd be 4 sig figs. Multiply through, get an answer. 59.95 divided by 16. Check your sig figs again, 4 sig figs. Multiply through. You should get 1.252 moles of sulfur and 3.747 moles of oxygen. All right, whole number ratio, what we're going to divide by least number. So that's 1.252 moles of sulfur, or just moles. So they're going to get 1.000 sulfur and 2.993. We didn't get too many of these, but you see that 9. Is that 9 close enough? Yes, it is, because that first decimal has to be 0 or a 9, so that 9 does work. So the empirical formula is SO3. We've done nothing new here. This is exactly the same as we did before empirical formula. Now comes the new stuff. Molecular formula, MF is equal to MW over FM. So what's the molecular weight? In the problem here, it tells us the molecular weight is 240 grams per mole. So we put 200 gram formula mass. Okay, we have sulfur and we have oxygen. 1 sulfur, sulfur is 32, oxygen 16, 48, 48 and 32, 80 grams per mole. So we take and divide that through, we're going to get 3. Now, for my problems, when I do, you should always get a whole number. If you don't get a whole number, something is wrong. Okay, so we got to fix that. All right, go back and look. But here we're good. So what are we going to do with that? That's not my answer. That's my multiple. Okay, so if I've got 1 S and 3 oxygens, by a multiple of 3, my formula is going to be S3O9, and that's my answer. All right, that's molecular formula. All right, let's try this one. This time I want you to take through the problem. Find the molecular formula for compound molecular weight of 492 grams per mole, composed of 29.268 grams of carbon, 5.691 grams percent hydrogen, not grams, 65.041% oxygen. I'm going to ask you to pause the video, do the empirical formula on your own first, see what you get. And then from there, we'll work through the molecular formula. So pause it, get the answer. Okay, here we go. So we should end up with 2.439 moles of carbon, 5.691 moles of hydrogen, 4.061 moles of oxygen, divided by the smallest number, which is the 1 moles of carbon here. So we're going to end up with 1 carbon, 2.333 hydrogen, 1.667 oxygen. The multiple there is 3. So we have 3 carbons, 7 oxygens, and 7 hydrogens and 5 oxygens. So we're going to go now to the process, MW over FM. So molecular weight, it says in here, is 492. All right, so let's do it. Carbon. Carbon is 12 times 3, 36. Hydrogen, 7 times 1 is 7. And then 16 times 5 is 90. Sure that's right. Yep. 80. 80, not 90. There you go. If we add those all up, we're going to get 123 grams. We divide that through, we're going to get 4. So we take and multiply our number by 4. We get C12H28O20. That is our molecular formula. All right, last one. I want you to do this all on your own. Start all the way through. Find the empirical formula first. Then take the molecular weight, which is listed right here, divide by the formula mass from this compound, get a number, multiply through. Let's see what we come up with, okay? Pause it. Work it through. Thank you. All right, here we go. Answer. So it's going to be NO2, multiples 2, formula N2O4. Hopefully that wasn't too bad. Take care. God bless.